Hello and welcome to the Aegex Webinar. Today we are featuring our technology partner, FHOOSH. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce Thomas Ventulet, who is the CEO of Aegex Technologies, to say a few words. Tom?
Thanks, Lee. I appreciate everybody joining today. This is an exciting new partner of FHOOSH. For those of you that attended the conference that we hosted back in June, you might recognize FHOOSH as one of the partners there that was able to demonstrate some really remarkable software where we could take data and imagery from the field, from a hazardous location, broadcast it in a highly secure fashion without drawing extra energy from the device, slowing things down, very high speed capabilities. They're introduced to us by Verizon and some applications they're running, and trialing it there at the facility with so many other partners, it became very apparent that a partnership with FHOOSH for our customers would be infinitely valuable. As most of you know, more and more companies are now looking at use cases where they can take the tablet, capture images of workflows and so forth, capture video, be able to fire that back to an office somewhere around the world in a very fast, highly encrypted fashion, has obviously unique value. So we're excited about bringing them into the fold and making this a part of the product going forward and enabling customers to do some amazing things. So I'll stop there. Eric, Lee, I'll hand it back to you, and then you can go from here.
Oh, great. Thanks, Tom and Lee. I really appreciate it. We're really excited about our technology partnership with Aegex. Together, we open up many new opportunities for our partners and customers who are looking for innovative solutions to enhance security, improve efficiencies, increase productivity, and reduce costs. Typically, security is a burden and complicated to implement and can dramatically slow performance. However, with FHOOSH, we bring advanced security and performance together. In fact, we transmit and secure data at speeds never seen before. That's a pretty tall statement to say, but we've had our performance certified by a third party as up to 8 times faster than not even encrypting or protecting the data, and up to 15 times faster than if you use like a traditional encryption, for example, open SSL AES 256-bit encryption. And I'll share some performance results with you shortly. We've also had our security validated by 3 top cybersecurity assessment firms, one of them notably Mandiant. And what we did is we set up a web portal with a different collection of different type of information, sensitive personnel information, PII information, healthcare, insurance, financial, and let them try to inject things into the data stores or break through into the servers. They could not get in, so then we gave them full root access to all the source code and data stores, and they still could not decipher anything. So we like to say they get data, if they get in, the bad guys get in, they get data dust, not information diamonds. One other unique thing about FHOOSH is that we continuously protect data from the point of capture on endpoints, in transit, and in the cloud. It's a very, this is a software solution with an extremely lightweight footprint, and we specifically designed it with IoT in mind. In fact, one of the cybersecurity assessment firms noted that, they gave us a great compliment. They said, that we've really designed this from architecture through implementation. And that's exactly what we did with some design thinking in mind from scratch. And as Tom also mentioned, we demonstrated this at the event in the Operation Convergent Response event back in June, and we were asked to apply our technology to capture live streaming high-definition video from tactical canines and robots. And we did so with an IoT device. We actually used a Raspberry Pi. It's a $35 single-board computer with a Raspberry Pi camera, $25 camera. And we were capturing that live data and streaming it real time to a secure command center for first responders. We're the only ones that can use very strong AES-256-bit encryption real time with very low latency, and I'll show you some results from that real shortly. But this gives you this capability to protect data from the point of inception or capture all the way through in transit and at rest in the clouds, allows for always-on compliance. And another feature is that it's one core engine, one security engine that works across all the major platforms, Linux, Windows, iOS, Android, Mac, and oops, got a poll here, showed up. Anyway, basically the idea is that you, from one device, you can protect or read secure data and be able to share it with others, and keeping it in that protected state. And easy to deploy, easy to use, anywhere, all the time. The core fundamental thing we're doing is we're taking any type of data, from plain text through large objects. For example, it could be high definition video, it could be medical images, it could be data center images from the servers for backup. We take that data, we disassemble it into separate fragments, we completely disassociate those fragments from each other, and then we separately encrypt each one of those fragments. And right now we're using an AES-256-bit FIPS 140-2 compliant certified encryption, very strong encryption. And then we disperse that to a plurality of data stores. So that could be one location, could be anything from as simple as a USB drive to as complex as a large distributed data store system like a scaled array with thousands of nodes. It works the same and works with all of that at the same time. And shortly we'll show you a demo of FHOOSH running live on an Aegex tablet. We're going to jump right into the performance slide, since people are really surprised about how fast FHOOSH is. That's why we had our performance certified by a third party. And what you see on this chart is, what we plotted is FHOOSH is blue, and we're comparing FHOOSH put times, the speed it takes to take different size objects out of storage at one location and writing them over to another location. So in this case, we did all these tests up at Amazon in a controlled environment from magnetic storage on EC2 servers, and stored them in their object store, which they call S3 storage. And the x-axis shows those size objects. All the way here, we're showing from 1,000 bytes, basically 1 kilobyte, all the way up to a terabyte in size. And we're showing the time it takes to do that operation, to read the data, to perform that operation, write it over to S3. The baseline comparisons are to Amazon's fastest way of putting an object, which is called a multi-part put, with no encryption, and then the dark gray is that same fast put that Amazon has with traditional encryption. And this is a logarithmic scale on the X. So, for example, a 1 gigabyte object, pretty good size object, for FHOOSH takes less than 10 seconds, as compared to not even protecting the data, it takes almost 100 seconds. And if you add encryption to protecting that data, it's 130 seconds. And note that on the right, sorry, Blake. Okay, but on the right, there is no comparison data, because actually over 20 gigabytes, we actually had trouble doing the baselines, and so we had no comparison data. We're not aware of how you can actually protect and write over those huge objects, but with FHOOSH, there's not a problem. This performance advantage is especially relevant to the use case we're going to walk through today, and the challenges you may encounter in facilities where necessary state-of-the-art infrastructure or networks aren't in place. Because our technology will take advantage of whatever compute or bandwidth there is to a maximum extent. The other thing you might ask is, well, geez, to have this kind of advanced security, am I going to use a lot more space and all that? And actually, no. our overhead burden is less than 1%, and it's really because we're creating we have an encrypted data map of how all those fragments go back all together. And just one last note I'll make is the way we get the performance, the surprising performance, is that our proprietary patented technology it takes all the available compute resources, all this abundant amount of threads that are available in modern compute systems, and it separately and independently can process each one of those fragments independently. So it's actually better than even a concurrent parallel processing system, because it's like a Ferrari engine. You have 12 cylinders, and as soon as you fire off the first cylinder, you can't fire it off again until the other 11 are completed. Well, with us, as soon as you fire it off once, you're ready to go on the next fragment. As mentioned, you know, at the OCR event, the Operation Convergent Response event, we did demonstrate also applying this technology to streaming live HD data. And so for every minute of video captured, we were actually generating thousands of fragments, each separately encrypted with strong AES-256 encryption, and transmitting that to the command center, where there's a FHOOSH listener, which in real time is unFHOOSHing it and playing that on a player for the first responders. And what this graph shows on the left is we've done hundreds of measurements and looked at what is the additional FHOOSH latency. And in wireless streaming, for example, you know, you get typically hundreds of milliseconds of latency, sometimes up to close to a full second of latency in some of the most advanced wireless systems, but we're adding less than 1 millisecond for both the FHOOSH, the protection, and the unFHOOSH, you know, unprotecting that data stream. So it's extremely low latency, and it's all lossless transfers along with advanced strong encryption. You can also stream not just you know, HD video. You can stream sensor data from IoT devices out in plants, for example, different devices. But you can also do complete file transfers real time. And this applies to a lot of different areas, including autonomous vehicles, et cetera. And just one note here too is that this capability of, we call it FHOOSH Live, should be available in the first half of 2018 on Aegex tablets. So the overhead burden for this is a little bit more. It's 2.9%, and the reason why it's higher compared to file transfers is that we're creating all those thousands of fragments, so there's a lot more, you know, say data mapping to consider, but that's extremely low. So before we do show the demo, we want to highlight some of the key protection challenges that FHOOSH solves. We see broad application across many verticals. For example, you know, besides realizing secure high-speed, high-definition live streaming and protecting data from the point of capture, but this is really applicable to using any type of secure cloud, including public cloud, and a lot of reasons why you want to do that, including improving overall return on investments. But we allow for the secure use of that, and you can spread those fragments among not just, you don't have to put them all in one cloud, you can actually spread that across multiple clouds. You can also change the location storage of the secure manifests that are produced to how everything's glued back together. So it makes the use of any cloud extremely secure. We've mentioned always on compliance. Again, we look at the normal state of data should be in the protected mode, and only be in the unprotected mode for when you need to operate on it, do big data analytics, consume that data, et cetera. So it really works throughout your whole ecosystem and allows you to also share content throughout that ecosystem. So now we're just walk through a real world scenario. The setting is that we have an oil and gas multinational. They want to bring in new technologies to improve operational efficiencies, to better capture, transmit, and analyze data in real time. So one of the challenges is that some of these scenarios, including this one, is that you need to have certified devices that won't cause any type of issue. So you don't want to spark a fire or something like that. So you need to have certified electronic equipment that meets UL Class 1, Division 1 capabilities, and Aegex tablets solves that issue. The Aegex 10 tablet, intrinsically safe device, solves that. The other issue is then how you capture, secure, collect, share sensitive data, including operations, maintenance, workflow, personnel health, and other data. And this could be something that you might have a worker out in a factory and they got an issue. They need highly sensitive schematics sent to them, for example, to debug something. And you want to be able to send data to them, that you want to be able to collect data back from them to the command center. So this is really meant to do all this sharing very securely and quickly and in a way that's very productive. So now we'll show you how FHOOSH works.
We like to show a FHOOSH application running on an Aegex tablet that lets users securely and quickly move any type of data, including sensitive operation or workflow information, from their Aegex tablet to the cloud or destination of their choice. It's an easy, intuitive process. First, the user selects the destination where they would like their data stored. We call the final destinations virtual containers. The user is in control and can create virtual containers based on preferences for storing your data. Users can directly store data on a major cloud platform like AWS or Azure, or sync to the cloud folder of choice, including Box, Dropbox, iCloud, Google Drive, and OneDrive, or just store locally. Once a user chooses a virtual container, the user selects the data they want to secure, transmit, and store. Then, they simply click the FHOOSH button. Done. It's that fast. FHOOSH is so fast it's up to 8 times faster than storing unprotected data. It's the same quick process whether it's a 1 meg file or a large proprietary file like a multi-gigabyte video file. To retrieve data, go ahead and reverse the process. It's that fast and easy to use. And that's FHOOSH, running live on an Aegex tablet. Aegex plus FHOOSH, the safest, most secure solution for data sharing in hazardous industries.
So what I'd like to talk about here real quick is that we delivered one comprehensive solution that works across multiple platforms. So this diagram just shows how you would deploy this across a complete ecosystem. So for example, say in the network you have connected Aegex tablets, for example, out in the field to your workers, desktop PCs, enterprise servers, and you would be able to share back and forth between command centers, different clouds, and you don't have to have FHOOSH running on where you store in a cloud. But if you want to do compute on the data, you would have FHOOSH running to be able to unFHOOSH on the other side, or you can do the real-time streaming from different devices. So to recap, there are many benefits of the Aegex and FHOOSH solution, including continuous data protection upon capture through to the cloud, always-on compliance. It's lightweight software that can protect all types of IoT devices, including single-board computers. It has the ability for point-to-point HD live streaming. We call that FHOOSH Live. It's one solution that can protect an entire ecosystem, and it's easy to deploy and easy to use. We're really excited about what Aegex and FHOOSH are doing together to deliver the fastest, most secure solution for sharing data in hazardous environments. And we'd love to answer your questions now.
Okay, great. We do have some questions coming in. First of all, there's a question about actually purchasing or offering this solution. It says, will we be able to get this preloaded as a separate SKU, and do you have an estimate of pricing? So this is obviously from someone interested in offering this solution. And Tom, can you answer that?
Yeah, I can take that. We've been working with for a while, and obviously, and unfortunately, the video shows it running quite beautifully on the device. To get this integrated, and there's been a tremendous amount of testing accordingly. We're going to continue that testing. What we are anticipating at this point is we'll have this. The goal is to have this available as soon as possible, and like to have it out here in the next few months. It'll likely be somewhere right after the first of the year, in the first quarter is kind of what I'm actually expecting. But in advance of that, we can arrange kind of proof of concepts and trials with customers a whole lot sooner. We want to kind of get a good feel for what's the easiest way for customers to gain access to it. The expectation is at this point that the device would be available as is a part of the operating system, as kind of a separate SKU item or whatever, all built in. With respect to pricing, for those of you that have seen recent announcements, with the new IBM 0% financing option, this would also be eligible to be included in that. And so we're working through the details with all the partners to try and figure out how to best build this into the price so people get access to the kind of remarkable capabilities and not have it be just another line item that people need to consider. So all of that's being worked out, and we'll have the announcements out for kind of the final product availability and price. I would assume, Eric, probably within the next month, 45 days, maybe 60 days. Does that sound about right to you?
Yes, that's exactly right.
Okay, great. Yeah, sure, great. We have another question here for Eric. Could you explain how you use FHOOSH on IoT devices that don't have a lot of processing power?
Yeah, sure. So we've applied this to many different single-board computers from different manufacturers, down to as small as a Raspberry Pi Zero, which is like a $5 or $10 single-core computer that fits in the palm of your hand. So right now we can deploy on any Linux-based IoT device, and in the future we'll expand that to other real-time operating systems as well. But it's very flexible and very easy to deploy. And that example we had at OCR was exactly that. The challenge was to put our technology on something as small and cheap as a Raspberry Pi, 3B computer, which I think has 4 cores at $35, and volume is probably $25. And we were able to do high definition streaming video from that. And by the way, at the same time that we were doing the streaming real time, we also stored those secured fragments on the Raspberry Pi itself, so that if that asset, the tactical canine or robot, were in an area where you couldn't get RF connectivity for transmitting it to the command center, that we would still collect information securely. So if the asset was compromised, the bad guys still wouldn't be able to decipher anything. So those you could do a lot with these new IoT devices.
Okay, great. And we have time for maybe 1 or 2 more questions. There's a question here about live streaming. Can you explain a little more about the live streaming from Aegex tablets?
Yeah, so the live streaming, it'll be embedded in the same application. It'll just be another feature, and you'll be able to stream real-time video and voice from that tablet itself, real-time to another device. Could be the command center. There's a lot of capability for that, and also transmit full files that way. You don't have to use it through the manual interface that we showed. The manual interface we showed is very simple to use, but there's going to be advanced capabilities with the live streaming. Charlie, my CTO, is sitting here with me. Charlie, do you want to add to that at all?
Yeah, I'll just add that, I mean, all we need is basically FHOOSH running on both endpoints. So the tablet that you're transmitting from and then the location where it's receiving at, you need a copy of FHOOSH running on both those. They both need to be authenticated. And then beyond that, we just need to know essentially the IP address to transmit to. So it's very straightforward to use.